Hey everybody, and welcome to the Holotapes Weekly, episode 16, and it is currently Saturday, March something. I'm Jordan, your host, and this is also my co-host Jordan, right here.
Hello.
And it's going to be kind of a quiet day because we're the only ones here because nobody signed up to come and be a guest, and Monty's gone.
Yay!
So, if you didn't want a boring podcast, too bad, because it might be a little quiet today.
No, it's gonna be great. We're gonna be fine.
Are we? Are we
Yeah,
really?
we're gonna
Okay.
be great.
Well, today we're going to start off with your weekly dollar. Today's weekly dollar is going to be water, right?
Water. Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds great. Yeah, so go and give to something that either makes clean water, go donate to some water development projects. I'm not using words correctly today. And remember, it doesn't just happen in those third world countries that you hear about all the time. There are water issues, huge water issues in California right now, water issues in Eastern and Western Europe and all over the world. It happens to everybody. So go and give and be happy. So, yeah. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and move on to the main thing that we're going to do today. It is going to be kind of a shorter podcast, but what we're going to do today, Miss Jordan, is we're going to be answering some fan questions.
Woo!
And that's it.
Well, we'll probably get off topic a little bit talking about fan questions because some of these are pretty deep questions.
Yeah, I would agree. But we're just going to start off and let's do this. So first question is from Christopher Carter at the SARS 1984 on Twitter. Holotapes Weekly, wouldn't it be ace if on the PS4 version of Fallout 4 you could use a PS Vita as a Pip-Boy? Would you guys like to see this?
No.
I would agree.
PC Master Race.
Pretty much. I mean, you can talk about having a second screen for consoles, and it really hasn't worked out very well so far. There are a couple games that have had it, and it honestly, it's like people don't want to have to look down at their phones or tablets or whatever else every 5 seconds while they're playing a video game. And on top of that, it's how do you get second screen integration on PCs, which is where Fallout is mainly a PC-based game. So it's just really a difficult question.
Yeah, and like I can see it if you were to maybe like no, it wouldn't work at all. There's no way you could make it for a PC, like transfer it to a PC.
Well, if you had
some people with like
two
a second screen, but then that's
it's difficult as shit.
Yeah,
so,
it's not a good
idea. It wouldn't be worth the money for them to develop it. Might be interesting as a mod though on PCs. In fact, go ahead.
Maybe if Fallout was a Wii U game.
That'll never happen. Screw you, Nintendo. Let's see. Who asked this question? Because it just says somebody favorited it.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay. Well, somebody asked, Holotapes Weekly, what powers a Pip-Boy and how does it achieve VATS? Well,
I think it's Christopher Carter who asked that.
Oh, was it Christopher Carter? Well,
yeah.
Another question from Christopher Carter at the Sarge 1984 on Twitter. I think this one's a pretty easy one. The Pip-Boy is probably powered by some sort of nuclear device, either plutonium inside of it or a microfusion cell of some sort. I can't imagine that it would take too much power to run it. It's got very, very basic graphics and not very bright, that kind of thing. And I think that most people, when it comes to VATS, understand that it doesn't really happen in real time. You're not stopping time and shooting something. You're aiming, and the Pip-Boy on your arm is making small adjustments using electrical currents or something similar to adjust your aim just slightly.
Basically, it involves biomedical weaponization.
Pretty much.
Magic.
And magic. Yeah, video game magic. But I mean, we do see some kind of. I'm pretty sure I just had a stroke.
Jordan's been drinking too much caffeine, and now he's gonna die. And I felt like I was referring to myself in the third person there for a second. That was kind of weird. I don't know how I like that.
I do have a rock star right now, so that might be it. And I haven't really had anything to eat today besides some ramen, so my body's probably all sorts of fucked up.
I'm drinking one of the Call of Duty Monsters, so there you go.
They have Call of Duty Monsters?
It says Call of Duty Advanced Warfare at the top. Apparently, I think I can win it, but I'm not sure.
Do they even sell that in Germany? Is it allowed in Europe at all?
It's USK 18, so kind of not really.
Oh. Well, Never mind. Yeah, but what I was gonna say before I had my stroke and lost my memories, and now the left side of my face doesn't work, is that there's already a lot of things that are used for biomedical research right now, where you can use electrical stimulation to help to eliminate seizures from epilepsy. You can use it to I mean, people talk about it in a bad way, but being someone who has experienced depression and has done a lot of research on it, electroshock therapy, not the olden kind where you're awake and they give you huge shocks, but the modern kind, which is where they put you under and they give you small doses of electric shocks at a time, can actually help to alleviate a lot of depression and some other mental illnesses. So, I mean, it's not that unlikely that in the future, 2077, that the Pip-Boy had some sort of electrical current that could run through your body and adjust things.
Well, even now as it stands, that's how most, well, not most, but the new fangled prosthetic limbs that you can move, that's how they work.
Yeah.
They're attached to the electrical current within you, and it's kick-ass.
No, that's a movie, Jordan.
Shh.
I'm pretty sure that's actually kind of how touchscreens work too, is that when you touch it, you're actually moving an electrical current from your finger to your phone, and so it detects the touch through that. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. If not, then, oh well.
I honestly have no idea how touchscreens work.
I'm pretty sure I looked at that at some point. But we'll move on to the next question. Jonathan Ricci, at RicciBoy on Twitter. Hi, John. What's up, man? This is the next Prime Minister of Canada, if you guys didn't know. But he asks, DC or Nevada, which location did you like better?
I like DC better.
I think that DC was much more Fallout-y.
Yeah. Well, just Nevada was so open and boring.
I think it was more of that Nevada didn't have enough ruins for me. When I think about Fallout, I'm thinking back to like Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, where there was just ruined buildings every few steps, And honestly, the Mojave was just so developed, I just felt more like a cowboy than I did a Fallout player.
Well, like the thing that was hard for me is that you're outside of Las Vegas. I would think that there would be more ruins of buildings. I mean, I get that it's in the middle of a fucking desert, but like,
well, I think
there's more out there. But I also haven't been to Las Vegas, so if I'm wrong, just tell me.
I can tell you that the area immediately outside of Las Vegas is nothing but desert. It's like
so weird.
It's like a circle of a city and then nothing, because my grandparents actually live on the outskirts of Las Vegas. But it's a weird thing where we're not seeing all of it. It goes back to that whole game mechanics thing that we talked about before, where we can only see so much of the game. So
right.
The strip is probably 10 times the size that we're seeing. It's not just a couple of little streets. It's probably an entire town.
Yeah, well, but like still, the strip is normal. The strip is exactly what I would expect. It's outside of New Vegas. That's just there's nothing, and that's so boring.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing is that House might have stripped that entire area of most of the buildings immediately.
That's true.
As soon as he got rebuilt, so that way he could build the walls around the strip and all the other areas, because that's really the only place that you're going to find easily available materials. They also probably used some of it for Camp McCarran as well.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those buildings may have gotten torn down.
Right. My only complaint about DC is that I always get lost in the metro.
I think everybody gets lost in the metro, and I think that's kind of the point, because
yeah.
Go and try it in real life. Try and ride the DC Metro. It's just like, fuck you.
Well, like, even here, I get lost in the subway systems. So I guess it's not completely unrealistic that I would get lost.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not paying attention, it's pretty easy. But yeah, there's your answer to your question. And actually, Jonathan Ricci asked us another question, and he said, what makes the Fallout games unique? And I think we discussed that last episode.
Yeah, we might have.
So, John, if you want to answer that, go to the last episode, and we talk about it there, about Bethesda style. And then, oh my gosh, we're getting questions from everybody, like, repeatedly. Christopher Carter,
it's the same three people.
1984, asks, how can they bring Three Dog back for Fallout 4 if you were hardcore enough to blow his head off in Fallout 3?
Well, that's not the canon,
Yeah.
and second of all, you're an asshole. Why would you do that? Three Dog's a great guy.
On top of the fact that the second that you kill him, Galaxy News Radio becomes boring as fuck. It's because his fucking assistant runs it, and she's all like, "And here's the next song." And I don't want to hear that. I want to hear Three Dog howling at me and screaming in my ear. I'd prefer that. Which makes me question, so when you have your radio on, creatures around you can't hear your radio, right? And we were just talking about
Yeah.
how the Pip-Boy can use like biomedical technology to move electrical signals into your brain, into different parts of your muscles. Do you think it's directing the music directly into your brain?
Oh my God, I hope so, because that's awesome.
I mean, it would make sense because that would explain why no one else can hear it besides you.
That technology now, like I know way back when I was on swim team, I looked at getting the special ear device where you put it in your ear and you can listen to music underwater.
Yeah,
Sends
like
it
this.
directly to your head. It's weird as fuck, but it's awesome. It's so expensive though.
Somebody send us one of those so we can test it out.
Yeah, please.
We would also like press passes for E3, tickets for all of us to go to LA for E3. We'd also like to work on the next installment of Fallout and the next installment of the Elder Scrolls. We'd love to be voice actors, so just hit us up, let us know, and we'll tell you that you guys are awesome. Somebody do that for us.
We need some sugar daddies is basically the long and short of it.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Next question. Jenny at Team Machined on Twitter asks, Holotapes Weekly, weapons could be an interesting topic, architecture and style, both pre- and post-war as well. We can talk about architecture for a minute.
Yeah, let's talk about architecture because it's fascinating. I love architecture.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm being 100% serious.
Okay. I find it interesting that a lot of the buildings don't seem to be 50s and 60s style. They seem to be 70s and 80s style.
Yeah, they have the Art Deco style going on a little bit.
Which is interesting because they say that the culture stopped right in the 50s or 60s.
Right, but I'm not convinced of that for several reasons. One,
Okay.
it's looking like late 60s, bridging into early 70s because you even have the hippies.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know when Art Deco started, but it's not. I think they were slowly getting there, but it definitely was taking longer.
Okay, so Art Deco began on an international scale in the 1920s and 1930s.
Right.
And it picked up more right after World War II. Well, I should say it started to end right as World War II began, and then the American version of it sort of picked up a little bit later. And I don't even think it's really Art Deco style. Like, some of it is Art Deco style, and some of it's more of that angular sort of thing that we see more in the 70s and 80s where they were trying to make everything kind of arty. Art Deco is more of like what we see in the Sierra Madre.
That's true. I love Art Deco. Oh my goodness.
It's pretty, I'll tell you that much. But it's interesting. So we say that culture stopped, but there was a lot of, like, culture did continue just in a different way. So instead of, like, we see developments in nuclear arms and things like that, I mean, you have nuclear-powered cars at that point, and that's a change in culture because you're no longer dependent on oil. And whether or not you want to accept the fact that that's going to change your culture, it does. I mean, you're completely changing how energy is produced.
Right. I don't know where to go with that. I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I can't come up with anything either. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
Anyway, weapons, I really could do less with plasma weapons.
You don't like plasma weapons? What's wrong with you?
No, I don't like plasma weapons. I don't like turning people into goo.
You prefer turning them into dust?
Yeah. It makes me feel powerful.
I like both. One of my favorite weapons in all the games is the weapon that you get for finishing the replicated man quest. What's it called? Whatever it is, Harkness's gun.
Yeah.
And I mean, the problem with that gun being that you can get it very, very early and you can use it till the end game and it's still just as powerful. But I didn't like it nearly as much in New Vegas, I'll tell you that much.
Meh. I feel like New Vegas kind of dropped the ball on guns, and that's why they had to include Gunrunner's Arsenal.
Gunrunner's Arsenal does I should say this, vanilla New Vegas definitely doesn't have a lot, but Gunrunners definitely makes up for it. I think that the addition of mods was incredibly important. I feel like playing the game without those is, I mean, it's hard. I can't imagine it. I always play with Gunrunners. arsenal. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to say that they dropped the ball when they did add DLC for it. And there were a lot of really cool guns, like in Lonesome Road, uh,
Hmm.
Sierra Madre, or the Dead Money. I mean, in all the DLCs, there were some really cool guns. One thing about guns that I really appreciated was when you go into Honest Hearts, all of the tribals carry guns that are really hard to find in the Mojave. Trail carbine and the heavy sniper rifle. What's that thing called? You know
I
what I'm
can't
talking
remember,
about.
and I know what you're talking about. The worst part is I'm going through
Going
Honest Hearts
through.
right now,
Yeah.
and I just cannot remember for the life of me.
Yeah. You can also find like shish kebab and tomahawks and
I fucking love shish kebab.
I have a question. Why in New Vegas is it so hard to find tomahawks and throwing knives and throwing spears? Throwing spears being the easiest of those three to find. You would think, like, in fact, I think I can only think of one merchant that even sells throwing knives, and that's the guy that you can buy from in Good Springs. What's his name?
Oh, Chet.
Yep, Chip. And he occasionally sells like three, but it's like a 1 in 100 chance. I don't understand why that was turned down so far.
I I don't know. Do people I don't normally use throwing weapons, so like maybe I'm in the majority on it, and that's why they don't.
Maybe, but you would think that they would at least give people a chance to use it. I mean, there's
Right.
like not a whole lot of people use explosives regularly, but they're still readily available at all times.
Mhm.
So
Almost to the point of being too much available.
yeah,
Well, there's so much dynamite.
well, powder gangers.
Yeah.
Hey Jordan, I'm tired.
What? I'm tired too. Well, actually, I'm not that tired.
You instantly went back on yourself.
Well, like, I'm tired in the way that I am physically tired, but I just drank this entire Monster and a Mountain Dew. So, I'm awake.
There you go, folks. Proof that she's American. Uh, Next question. Chaotic Kingdom 3 on YouTube asks, Hey Holotapes Weekly, if you could live in any location in the Fallout games, where would it be and why? Non-canon and semi-canon games don't count. That's a very good question. I think I'd live in DC on the outskirts, probably just east of Raven Rock. What about you?
I think I would also live in DC. Well, actually, you know what? No, I changed my mind. I think I would live in New Vegas. Well, not in New Vegas, but on the outskirts, over by where that couples live.
The what?
There's a couple in New Vegas that are gonna rob the casinos.
Oh, the ones where they stole the gun from the Vicky and Vance casino.
Yeah, over there in
Yeah,
one of the abandoned houses.
that makes sense. I mean, you're close enough to the actual strip that you can still go in and have fun, but far enough away that you don't have to deal with people.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. That's
Well,
ideal. Like real life goals. Close enough to the city, far enough away from people.
the problem with that is the Legion. That's why I didn't say New Vegas. I'm too afraid of getting captured by the Legion.
That's true.
At least if I'm living like just east of Raven Rock, I know that the Enclave has destroyed most of the super mutant population in that area, and I'm close enough to the Brotherhood of Steel where it wouldn't take too long for them to get over and help me.
That's true. But I think that I would be far enough out of New Vegas that the Legion would leave me alone if it was just me.
Yeah, but the Legion is also known for like attacking the outskirts. They
That's
don't
true.
they don't go and attack like dead center of the strip. So, and they do want the boomers out of that area, so they might just like be walking by and you might be out tending your garden while they're marching over towards the boomers and they'll see you and take you out.
Hmm.
So, it's a hard one. It's definitely a hard question. I mean, you could make the easy answer and just say you want to live in Shady Sands or the Hub, and that way it's just like living in modern day, like in a modern day city. It wouldn't make any
Right.
difference.
Yeah, I want to live in I want to live in the tops. That's the place I'll be.
In the
So,
tops. Well, then I want to live in Gamora. No explanation needed.
yeah.
Next question from Green Lego Cubes 3 on YouTube. What do the Holotapers think is in the Y0 research facility from Old World Blues? So, Jordan, what do you think is in there?
All right, so I think that that is where they kept the research, I guess, on the cloud from Sierra Madre.
Yeah, I agree because the terminal just outside of it has information on the Sierra Madre, and they talk about
Mm-hmm.
the development on the cloud in there, or they talk about the development of the vending machines in the Sierra Madre. So I think it may have just been a commercial research facility where they would contract out development of certain technologies. Maybe.
Right. And that seems like the kind of thing that they would have over there.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense that, yeah, it makes sense.
I mean,
yeah.
Given the culture and...
But I mean, I feel like they didn't have enough on the commercial side of things. Like, they had a lot of military research, but I would think that at some point you would be contracting out to regular businesses as well. So I think that's probably where they did all that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. Next question. Tom Hall 3 on YouTube. What was your favorite random encounter in all the games? Jordan?
Teehee the Mugger.
The Mugger from Fallout 3?
3.
You can, with your perception, you can just tell him that his gun isn't even loaded.
Yep.
I think that mine...
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he is an idiot. I always thought that you should be able to recruit him as a follower or a companion. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool. I think that my favorite is the used car salesman from Fallout 1, because you can walk up and he'll be like, look at all these fine cars, and you'll be like, no, these are all broken. He'll be like, no, these are all in perfect condition. Look, we have our maintenance crew right over there, and he points at nothing. And he'll be like, right now you can get a free car. And then if you say, oh yeah, if you throw in a tank of petrol, I'll do it. And he'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, we're all out of petrol. Too bad. And it's just an interesting encounter. Last question, and then we're going to go and be boring somewhere else. Do you think the civil rights movement occurred in the Fallout universe?
No, I don't.
No? Why not?
A couple of reasons.
Okay.
First of all, hypothetically, by that point, they were split up into the Commonwealth. The Commonwealths.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be the federal government as a whole is probably less influential, and thus there wouldn't be this big nationwide movement. It would be much smaller. And, I think it did happen, as we were talking about earlier. I think it did happen slowly. Like, it just became a thing that was normal.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yes.
But obviously there was some sort of...
I think they were... Go ahead.
I was going to say there's obviously some sort of equality movement, because we do see examples like posters that have pictures of people of color on them, and we see mentions of, like, I mean, we don't see any civil rights leaders, which we would think we would see within, like, books or something, but we don't see anything like that. There's no mention of them. So more likely it's just something that just happens slowly over time.
Also, I think they were a little more preoccupied with the threat of communism than...
Yeah, I would agree. I think because I think that in the Fallout universe, even though they don't really mention it, the Cold War was much hotter than it was in the U.S.
in
real life. So I think that it would be odd for them to be focusing on something like the civil rights movement if they were effectively in a pseudo war. That being said, It didn't happen in the U.S., so it would have to have been really, really like a big deal, way more than it was in real life.
And we also have to take into account that they have, 62 years on us?
Yeah, agreed.
So maybe it didn't happen, the civil rights movement in our universe happened in, the 1960s. Maybe the civil rights movement in the Fallout universe happened gradually, but didn't come into fruition until, 2060.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's that. That's really the end of the questions.
Yep, that's all there is.
So if you enjoyed this episode, you shouldn't have.
Right. If you didn't enjoy this episode, answer my damn messages. And
yeah, speaking of that,
kidding.
Speaking of that, we're going to try and standardize how we get people in here. So here's what we're going to do. If you want to be on an episode of the Holotapes Weekly, I need you to do something for me. I need you to go down in the description of this video, and there will be an email address to the 3-Day Media email thingamajig. I repeat words. And I need you to go on that, send your name, your age, if you have a microphone, and why you think you should be on the Holotapes Weekly. And if we like you, we'll inform you of if you're going to be on an episode or not. Now, as a reminder, we always record on Saturdays at either 7 p.m. GMT or 8 p.m. GMT, depending on the week. And so if you're not available at those times, sorry, those are really the only times that we record. But if you are available at those times, we'll let you know exactly what episode, so effectively what week you'll be on, and then we'll send you a link that you can come in and talk with us, and we'll do some recording, and we'll have a lot of fun. So if you're interested, please do that, because we really need guests, because as you saw, today was kind of a train wreck.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. It's also
Monty's fault. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. What was the other thing I wanted to say?
Yes, and we are also very, very proud to announce that we're going to be doing an interview with Wade K. Savage, the director of the Fallout fan film short thing, Fallout Lanius. So if you haven't seen that, we'll have a link in the description down below. Mr. Wade K. Savage is a wonderful man, and he will be joining us for next week's episode. We'll have a whole lot of questions for him. We'll grill him properly. So if you have a couple of funny questions for him or anything like that, make sure you leave them in the comments or on Twitter at Holotapes Weekly and let us know. And other than that, I think that's it for this episode. So.
Oh, hey, Jordan, did you know that you can click this button right up here and you can subscribe to our channel?
No freaking way.
Yeah, did you know that if you scroll down just a little bit, you can actually click that little thumbs up button and it gives us a little like?
Definitely did not know this.
Right? It's crazy. I know, right? But I'll tell you what's even more amazing. If you click right over here, you can actually see more of us, and it will bring you directly to the playlist with all of the Holotapes Weekly episodes on it.
What? You could watch like 16 hours worth of Holotapes Weekly.
I know, it's crazy. But anyways, it's been fun.
That's so much of us talking. All right.
Yeah, it's great. But anyways, hope you guys had fun, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.